New trend alert. Tell me something honest.
Tuck rule game against the Raiders.
Might have been a fumble.
It's funny how so many people are acting like he's made some deathbed confession. Did you order the code red? You're damn right I did. Come on, he's just having some fun. And it doesn't matter. It was 20 years ago. There's a large percentage of football fans that don't even know what the Tuck rule is.
Not only doesn't
don't
it
even know
matter.
what that game was.
Not only doesn't it matter, but hello, Mike. Not only doesn't it matter, Tom Brady did not do this himself. The officials made the ruling. It wouldn't matter if he said, yeah, you know, the Martian landed on my shoulder and forced a fumble. It doesn't matter. He didn't decide this. Anyway, my 2 cents.
That would have been a big story if a Martian had landed on his shoulder and forced a fumble.
Yes.
That definitely would have been memorable. But look, there was a great documentary on the Tuck rule not that long ago. Charles Woodson and Tom Brady got together and rewatched the game and argued about it, and that was fun. But you're right, it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't result in someone other than the Patriots winning the Super Bowl to cap the 2001 season. And frankly, if anyone has a real beef about the 2001 season and the Super Bowl, it would be the Rams, who lost the game based upon things that their players, some of them, still believe to this day regarding things that happened at the Superdome or didn't the day before. Now, that's all been rescinded, retracted, and forever taken back by the Boston Herald. But remember that little gem that popped up right before Super Bowl 42? So if it was a fumble, if it wasn't a fumble, it doesn't matter. That was the rule on the books. They got rid of it like a decade later because they didn't want it to be too conspicuous. They were getting rid of that rule as a reaction to the fact that it just didn't look like something that should be a fumble. That was the problem with the rule book at the time. They allowed this very specific mechanism to result in a finding that it wasn't a fumble when it looked like a fumble. So they eventually got what our eyes see and what the rules say to match. So when it looks like a fumble, it is a fumble.
You know, Mike, my first thought when I heard about this yesterday was somebody, whether it be Tom Brady, whether it be a marketing person, I have no idea who. Somebody says, hey, you know, what we could really do here with this Tuck rule game, which is never going to change. The result is never going to change. The result of that season is never going to change. But you know what we could do? We could make this bigger than the Immaculate Reception. That's what we could do. All we have to do is start talking about it and sort of feeding the beast. The reason why it could be bigger than the Immaculate Reception is that 70% of all big football fans today, at this moment, right now, today, either saw that game or knew or know everything about they know what the Tuck rule game is. And I would bet if you said to 100 football fans of all ages today, do you know what the Immaculate Reception game was? I would bet 25% would know. Certainly not 80% or whatever who would know about the Tuck rule game. And that to me, and look, I have no idea. Brady might have just woken up and said, hey, let's have some fun here. You know, let's get the conspiracy theorists out there going. Who knows? There might be nothing whatever behind this. But that was my first thought.
And one of the most overlooked aspects of that play, can we roll that again without owing the NFL too much more money? What Brady does after the ball's on the ground, watch what he does here. This was an uncalled foul that would have made that field goal unmakeable. Look at him try to trip 54. Look at him stick his leg up into the crotch of 54 to try to keep him from the ball. That's a 15-yard penalty that was just flat out missed. So beyond the fact that that sure as hell looks like a fumble, that's definitely a foul as he's trying to impede 54 from getting to the football. That was just never even a thought at the time. I didn't even notice it until fairly recently, where it was like a eureka moment, because you're looking at the play and the ball and then you're trying to process, was it a fumble or not? There's a foul there, and he's got a history of sticking his foot up in the air like that. He got fined $10,000 once for doing it to Ed Reed, and Ed Reed needed hip surgery, and he claimed it was because of that moment from a playoff game, 2011-ish. But that would have been a much tougher kick for Adam Vinatieri if you throw 15 yards on top of that one.
Yeah, I mean, look, I would bet if you rolled back the wide-angle view of the Immaculate Reception, that you could find offensive holding by the Steelers. Or you could find some other something by somebody. You know what I mean?
You can do that on any play.
That's why
you can do that on any play. No.
Hey, listen.
I'm not going to let you get away with that. No. Time out. You can get away with that on any play.
But what happened?
This is Tom Brady, after fumbling the ball, putting his foot into the crotch of the guy to keep him from recovering it. How do they miss that, Peter?
Wait a minute. Let's see that again. Did he actually make contact with the guy? Let's see it one more time. Did he make contact with him?
We're going to really owe the NFL a lot of money this morning. We're going to have to send a very large check in a fruit basket to 345. Here it is. Watch his foot. Watch it. There it goes. He sticks his leg right up in his crotch and tries to trip him. Keep him from getting to the football.
Yeah, but you can't tell whether you can. You can't see whether there was any contact.
If Walt Coleman wasn't standing there thinking, "Oh God, what do I do about this?" Maybe he would have noticed the foot fly up into the crotch of 54. All right, I'm sorry, I don't remember who 54 is. Was it Biekert? Was that 54? Kurt?
I thought it was
Biekert?
Greg Biekert.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think Greg Biekert. Yeah.
Greg or Kurt Biekert, either way, 4 letters. People are saying 4-letter words out there watching the show, saying, get to something that's at least happened within the past 20 years. And we are. It's PFT Live. It's a Friday morning. Peter King and I having a little verbal tussle right out of the gates, giving more money into the NFL's coffers by playing their clips over and over again excessively. But we got plenty to talk about here on Peacock, Sirius XM 85. Hello to our good friends in the UK watching on Sky Sports. Although I've already been alerted that we're not on the schedule today on Sky on any platform. I've passed it along to my new friend, Brian, at Sky, who's been very receptive and responsive to any and all concerns that people have. And I am regretting that as I'm saying it, because I know that will only encourage people with complaints about the placement of the show on Sky to send me more emails. God bless you, Peter. Even if you weren't sneezing, God bless you anyway.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.